Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching. The channel's called Ratchet. My name's Andrew, and on this episode of my GT40 restoration, we start final assembly. Booyah! Welcome to the channel if you're new. If you're not, thank you for tuning back in for yet another episode. As usual, up there's the playlist to all of the old videos that I have released. Down there is the subscribe button. Now please do subscribe if you haven't done already, because it feels like we are, I don't want to say on the home stretch because I'm far from, but I'm about to start the final assembly. So things are going to be going back onto the car for the last time. This episode, got a whole host of random parts that I want to get put onto the car, which will sort of lead into the bigger picture plan of attack, and it'll all make sense as it starts to pan out. Very first of all, I have got the chassis to cavity wax, which I mentioned I was going to do in the last video. Without further ado, let's make a start. So I ended up putting a squirt of Dinitrol cavity wax into every single rivet hole and rivnut hole around the entire chassis. I just wanted to give this thing the best possible chance to stay rust free for as many years as possible. I've used this product before, certainly not had any problems with it in the past, so it was my go-to on this job. Well, that was a tedious old job, but at least it's done now, so I can take comfort in the fact that I know the chassis is cavity waxed. Now that's out of the way, I'm going to go around and install all of the rivnuts that are necessary. So it must be, I don't know, 50 or so that I need to put back into the chassis. So let's get that job out of the way as well. Nothing taxing about this job in any way, shape or form, just time consuming. Running around the top of the sills with my hand rivnut gun. I've already done the rivnuts on the underside of the chassis. So now that means my sills are going to be completely removable, proper fixings and fasteners. Unlike previously, the sills were just riveted on, giving no access to anything at all. So this way, if I ever need to access the tanks, anything whatsoever, I can now just remove the sills without any issue. I'm now in a stage to start fitting the first panels to the chassis. Now these panels have already gone through the finishing process of the 120 grit, 240 grit, and then the final Scotch Brite with a green pad to give it that satin brushed finish that I'm going to roll out on all of these panels. Now it dawned on me when I first came up with this idea of this will be the finish, that I wanted to lock in that finish. I wanted some sort of lacquer or protection spray to coat these panels in to try and basically give this finish a good as chance as possible to last for as long as possible against scratches, stone chips where it's down in the inner wheel arches. So I went down an internet rabbit hole of trying to find a product suitable for the job, and I did find one over in the USA, and it was a product called Shark Skin, I think it was. Now I couldn't find anybody that was an importer into the UK, so I had to go back to the drawing board, unfortunately, because I thought I was onto a winner. Now, completely by chance, I stumbled across a company called Ocean Footprint, and they import a product called Nyalic. Now, I'll read the blurb on the back just very quickly, rather than trying to pretend that I'd memorised this or actually made it up. Now, this is Nyalic provides corrosive and rust protection against fertiliser, salt, urea, sulfates, ammonia, potash, lime, acids, animal manure and urine, salt water and other corrosive causing chemicals. Nyalic also provides UV protection. So you can imagine this protects bare metals, painted metals from absolutely everything under the sun. So speaking to Ocean Footprint, I did buy a couple of cans just to give it a try. I wanted to see what sort of finish it gave the panels. I didn't want them glossy. I wanted to maintain that sort of matte satin sort of finish to keep that raw looking aluminium look to the panels. So here's one I prepared earlier, or one of many should I say. This is the front inner footwell panel. Now, you can kind of see, or I hope you can see, that this has kept the matte finish of the Scotch-Brite. The film or the spray is completely invisible once it dries. It is scratch resistant, so I'm hoping that coating all of the panels in this stuff is going to provide a really nice, robust finish. I should say that this spray goes an absolute mile. So I've bought 3 cans of this spray, and I think it will comfortably do my 80 odd panels that I've made. If you are planning on keeping your aluminium paneling in a raw state, no matter what car you're building, then I would thoroughly recommend giving Ocean Footprint a call or having a look on their website. You can purchase it direct off of their website and give it a try, because at the moment, I know it's only early doors, but I really cannot see the downside of protecting your panels with this stuff. The first panel's clecoed into place, and I've got all of my rivets set to go. Yeah, couple lessons learned immediately. The paint has closed up the holes just sufficiently that the rivets don't go through every single one of them. So I'm having to just run around with the 4mm drill bit just to clear out the holes. But, you know, that's something that I can take onto the other panels. That's no problem. I think I can get the riveter out and set this one home. Moving on to the front upper panel, which is the first panel in order that everything needs to get fitted in. You will see that I've added a row of clecos along the very top edge. I can't rivet that until I have the final top panel of the scuttle fitted. So those clecos will stay in place. You will see down the side that I have got some L-shaped brackets that I'm fitting with my hand riveter. Now those pick up on the inner panels and give some rigidity to that back edge. So here you can see the L brackets fitted, and panning across to the other side, you can see how it basically works out, just picking up that back edge of the inner panel, making it nice and strong and rigid. On to the next 2 panels, the very lower front panel and then the top panel where the brake pedal box sits. Usual format, running around with the PU adhesive, then putting the panel in situ, running around that again with the 4mm drill, just opening up those paint holes and just making sure everything aligns perfectly to drop those rivets through in preparation for getting out the rivet gun and fixing it in place for the final time. It is so satisfying to see these panels go onto the car for the last time, and I'm really pleased with the fit and finish. So I'm hoping I can maintain this throughout the rest of the chassis, because it should end up being something that I'm quite proud of. So that is the first 4 panels fitted to the chassis. Now you'll see the process that's involved in getting these fitted for the final time, the forethought that's necessary to make sure I don't shoot myself in the foot 3 or 4 steps down the road by doing something out of sequence. So it's all a good learning curve for me, getting this far at this stage. Now, in the next episode, it's going to be more paneling. I'm working my way from the front of the chassis down to the back. So I'm going to be trying to record as much footage as possible to share with you guys, because I know some of you have been looking forward to this stage nearly as much as I have. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. It's always really appreciated. Leave me a comment, share a video here and there on whatever social platforms you are on. You can follow me on Instagram, Ratchet GT40, where I do post far more up-to-date progress of how this build is coming along. So until the next episode, I will catch you next time.